Just 2 days out, Charlie Strong and the Longhorns look to close out the 2015 recruiting class with a bang.
Texas basketball continues to drop down the top 25.
And Garrett Gilbert has a Super Bowl ring. We'll fill you in on everything 40 acres right now on College Press Box. We thank you for tuning the channel to College Press Box. I'm Reese Miller. He's the great Mark Skol making his first appearance. We'll do our best not to try to deflate you guys tonight. Now, Mark, yesterday, Super Bowl Sunday, also the 10th consecutive season, a Texas X is played in the big game. Now, we aren't paid to coach, certainly, but I'm guessing you're not a fan of the play call there, 2nd and goal.
I mean, if I have Marshawn Lynch as my running back, I'm definitely giving him the ball on 2nd and 1. I mean, it's the Super Bowl.
They call him beast mode. Well, perhaps the only coach more frustrated than Pete Carroll about things yesterday is Texas basketball coach Rick Barnes. And the Longhorns in a big struggle right now, but had a chance to right the ship against the Iowa State Cyclones Monday night on the road. And against those Iowa State Cyclones in the first half, Texas down 10-12, and Jamil McKay, oh man, making Prince eBay look dirty. Iowa State up 14-10. Those fans are turning up, and Iowa State's throwing it down. McKay goes to work again, finishes after the lob. Iowa State up 11, 34-23. Once again, if one's good, more is better. McKay again, that one from George Niang. Cyclones up big now, 53-35. Now, once again, driving in with the floater off glass and good. Texas struggles, just continue. Under 9 to play. Screening Niang, the 3. Iowa State goes on to win 89-86. Texas down at 1 point, 21. Ended up making it a close game, but still another loss for Texas in Big 12 play.
On Saturday, Texas looked to end their 2-game losing streak in Waco against the Baylor Bears. Texas did not match Baylor's intensity to start the game, as Texas missed their first 12 shots. The first possession of the game, Baylor's Kenny Cherry finds Lester Medford in the corner for the 3. Baylor goes up 3-0. Buckets. All right, a little more than 16 minutes left in the first. Baylor's up 9-0. Cherry finds Ishmael Wainwright for the 3. Baylor dominated early in this game, 12-0 Baylor Bears. 14 left in the first half. Baylor up 14-5. Baylor knocks the ball away, and Javon Felix finds Isaiah Taylor on the fast break, who slams it home. Texas still down 14-7. More to come. Baylor up 24-13, 8 left in the first. Taylor drives and finds Cam Ridley on the baseline. He dunks it. Baylor goes up 24-15. A little less than 2 left in the first. Baylor up 32-24. Medford drives in, finds Terry and Prince, and he says, have some. Puts Baylor up 35-24. Second half, 19 minutes left. Rico Gathers passes to Cherry on the arc, and he coops a 3. Texas having a rough time, down 42-27. Scoring really doesn't matter at this point. Cherry shakes off and bakes Ridley, and as a thank you, sends Texas 3 cherry pies. Bad day for Texas. Baylor defeats the Horns 83-60. Not a great game.
And Mark, we are now have the pleasure in studio. The great Lauren Barash has decided to grace us with her presence. Lauren, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Lauren, Texas basketball struggles really continue after such high expectations, and so, you know, losing 5 out of their last 7 games overall, 3 straight. What's up with this club?
There's definitely a lot of problems. You said it yourself. I think the 3 big things for me would be field goal percentage, taking advantage of their size, and starting strong both on offense and defense. As far as field goal percentages go, versus Baylor, they shot 38%, 27 of 70 shots. That kind of play is just not acceptable, especially for Texas basketball. They missed their first 12 shots while Baylor made their first 8. That's not the kind of way you want to go into a game. Second, they want to attack the rim. Isaiah Taylor and DeMarcus Holland have got to get it into Cam Ridley and Miles Turner, And Miles Turner and Cam Ridley need to stay consistent. Both of them did not have very strong games against Baylor this weekend. Turner only had 2 points, and Cam Ridley missed some pretty easy layups, but they need to become dominant in the paint and get some points for Texas. And lastly, starting strong on offense and defense. We said it earlier, they started losing by 12 against Baylor, and that was only in 4 minutes in the game. They trailed 21-9 by the time Baylor missed their first shot. They had bad D in the beginning, and Baylor just kept getting those offensive rebounds. There's really a lot of improvements that this team needs to see here.
I think ultimately Texas just needs to get the ball inside. They got one of the biggest teams in the country. And, I mean, they need to get the ball inside, and then Cameron Ridley, Miles Turner, they got to finish. I mean, that's what their job is, and they haven't been doing it lately.
Well, certainly, and there are 10 games still left in this regular season in Big 12 play for this team to get the ship back on track. So who has the keys to start this engine and really get the ship turned around in the right direction, Lauren?
I think overall, winning their next couple of home games is huge as far as momentum, and they just need wins right now. They're not doing well in conference play. Again, we talked about it earlier, shooting needs to improve. Even if they have good looks, they need to get inside the three-point line and take some easier shots. Holmes, for me, needs the most improvement. He's a junior. He has the most experience on this team, and he was 1 of 7 from the three-point line on Saturday. That's not very characteristic of him, and he needs to really improve. Cam Ridley also needs to demand the ball. You guys were talking about size earlier. He's 6'9". He needs to start playing like he's 6'9". He's a big guy. Get up there, get to the rim, and make some good points for Texas. And lastly, I think team communication is huge. By now in the season, everyone should know their place and what they need to do for this team. They keep talking in press conferences about they need to find their identity, and they're not sure where it is yet. By now, we're almost halfway done with the season, and we're pretty well into conference play, so they really need to get some communication going.
And, well, certainly good points. And last season, really before the Longhorns made the surprising run to the tournament, ended up winning that game over Arizona State in the first round, Coach Rick Barnes' seat was sort of heating up. He found some ice coming into this season. Of course, the big sign with Miles Turner, big expectations coming into this season. But, Lauren, could his seat really be on fire if Texas continues to struggle?
Well, I think that people are really quick to point the finger to a head coach. I don't think it's entirely his fault. When you're a coach at a university this big like Texas, the spotlight is always going to be on you, and people are going to expect perfection out of you. So yes, his seat is always going to be hot, and it's pretty hot right now. Barnes has undoubtedly done great things for this Texas program, but I think it's true that he's not the same coach that he used to be. This is their third blowout loss in conference play from Kansas, and then ISU before they had that comeback. They were losing by 21 at one point. And another thing to point out, this is as perfect as a roster as I think Barnes is going to get. They've got a great point guard, great upperclassmen, and young NBA potential talent. And I don't think they're executing what they can with such talent. I really think Rick Barnes needs to light a fire under this team and get things going. Otherwise, it's going to be an ugly February.
Well, if he doesn't light a fire under his team, there may be a fire lit under his very own seat. Thanks, Lauren. That's great stuff, and we'll see you in a little bit. When we come back, we'll check out how the men's counterpart did on their own hardwood. Keep it here. Thanks for coming back to see us tonight on College Press Box. Well, mainly to see you, big man. You know, while the Texas men's team has nearly fallen off of a cliff, the women seem to be falling right down that path. After winning their first 11 games and beating 2 top 5 teams, the injury-ridden Longhorns have dropped 4 of 5 headed into their Red River rematch at Frank Irwin. Let's take you right there to see how things went down. It's number 14, Texas, number 20, Oklahoma. OU controlled the first half for the most part, up 40-36 at this point as Kaylin Williams gets up and over Amani McGee-Stafford. OU up 42-36. Less than a minute to go, though. Brooke McCarty, the freshman, taking the charge. Texas gets the extra possession. Now tied at the end of regulation. Ariel Atkins for the win. Oh, it looks so good, but not so much. We'll head to overtime now. And as we do, it's Kelsey Lang, the fadeaway, no good, but Empress Davenport right there for the putback. And once again, up by 2. But it's Peyton Little, the mid-range jumper, up and splash. Oklahoma making it a game once again. Now Gabby Ortiz driving, trying to get in, but not in Kelsey Lang's territory. Get that out of there. Once again, Oklahoma trying to get it inside. It's Peyton Little, and the pesky Sooners have tied it once again. Now in a second overtime, it's Brooke McCarty creating, driving. Empress Davenport, splash once again, buckets. Texas going up, and finally Kelsey Lang, the fadeaway mid-range. Texas gets back on the right track, 84-81. Texas with the win over 3, and our very own Brooks Cabina has more after that 3-point victory.
What stops a losing streak? All coaches have searched for the answer. Sometimes it's the effort of individuals. Sometimes it's a game plan changed. This time, it was overtime.
The way that it happened surely will give our team some confidence and some excitement. We've sort of been in a little bit of a lull. I think everybody knows that. And, you know, again, they've been through a lot. And I think this will help them get excited again. I mean, they should be excited about playing basketball at Texas.
Ariel Atkins and Amani McGee Stafford have long recovered from injuries, but reached full force against Oklahoma.
And it was here at the free throw line that Ariel Atkins put the game away with 2 free throws to give the Horns a 2-point lead with 22 seconds left in the game. Atkins, Amani McGee Stafford, and Brady Sanders each combined for 49 points. So the Horns might have found their answer for the absence of Nneka and Mpali.
With TCU and Kansas State upcoming, Texas needed a bounce-back moment. Beating Big 12 leading Oklahoma with a battered lineup perhaps makes the moment mean a little more.
I never have thought this team thought that they weren't physically capable, but I think from a mental perspective, a lot of people made plays. They didn't get down on themselves. They fought through some adversity, and I think anytime you do that, then it gives you confidence.
Brooks Cabina, College Press Box.
After taking down OU in a double overtime battle, the women's basketball team looked to keep the magic going against TCU. Junior center Imani McGee Stafford tallied a season-high 22 points, shooting 10 of 16 from the field with 8 rebounds and accounted for 16 of the team's 24 first-half points. The Longhorns scored 6 straight points on free throws from Ariel Atkins to tie the game at 57. Unfortunately, Chelsea Prince hit a 3, Zayna Medley made a layup, and Natalie Ventris sunk 2 free throws to give TCU the win. The final, TCU 64, Texas 59. It was the second year in a row TCU beat Texas at home.
Texas unable to hang late with TCU. Fortunately for us, Lauren Barash has decided to hang with us right here. Now, Lauren, great expectations for this team coming into this season, then especially after knocking off Stanford, Texas A&M, Tennessee at home. But where is this team right now, and how have they fallen?
Well, you touched on it. This team is in trouble. They went from being the preseason favorite to win the Big 12, and now they're 5th in the Big 12. And I think a big reason for this trouble is injuries. Ariel Atkins had a minor injury this season. Amani McGee Stafford missed the first 8 games with a leg injury, and Nneka and Mpali now out with that torn ACL. And this is bringing inexperienced players onto the court. And I think they're still going to make the tournament, but that loss of Nneka is huge for the team. I think they can improve, and I think they have the pieces there. They just need to bring it together and execute.
Well, you mentioned Nneka and Mpali, really one of the Texas greats when you think about women's basketball. The senior forward ended her season after the torn ACL injury in the loss at Baylor. The leader in points and rebounding for this team, leader in rebounding for the Big 12. And so how does Texas replace her production now that she's out for the season?
I think everyone needs to step up. There's a couple of keys, but bench points matter now. Amani McGee Stafford, let's start with her. She had a great game versus TCU, but they need her to be more than good. Until OU, she hadn't played more than 20 minutes in a game because of that leg injury. She's starting to get her feet under her now, but she needs to continue that momentum and be great for this team. Kelsey Lang is another girl who is playing great lately. She leads the team in field goal percentage, and she just needs to keep up what she's doing and get those baskets. Ariel Atkins, who was just named Big 12 Freshman of the Week, needs to live up to her potential. She had a great game versus OU, but she needs to be more consistent. She has to mature a lot faster now as a freshman with the loss of Nneka.
Certainly, Nneka and Mpali, huge for this team. Leader in the Big 12 and double-doubles at the time she went out. The Longhorns now have 5 losses in conference play, Lauren. They've slipped all the way down past TCU to fifth place in the Big 12. So realistically, what are their chances to come back and try to get in this race with Big 12 with Baylor and with Oklahoma?
It would have been difficult with Nneka, but now without Nneka, I'd say it's going to be pretty hard. For me, Baylor is on a tier of their own in women's basketball, plus you have Oklahoma and Iowa State, so I think it's going to be a struggle. I think with some hard work and adjustments and having those freshmen kind of get into those places where they've kind of lost people due to injuries, they have a chance of beating some Big 12 teams, but it's definitely going to be a challenge.
Well, terrific insight as always, Lauren. Thanks again for hanging out with us. After the break, we're going to take real quick. We'll discuss the latest news in Texas football recruiting. Stay with us. This is College Press Box. Thanks for committing to TSTV and College Press Box tonight. Speaking of committing, we're now just 2 days away from National Signing Day, and we've got a special in-home visit with our recruiting analyst, Jeff Barker. Jeff, how you doing?
Doing great, Reese. Mark, thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely, and Jeff, big news today on the recruiting front. Kai Locksley with a big tweet just a few hours ago, former FSU four-star quarterback commit, saying, I will be going to the University of Texas. How does Kai fit in with the Texas program? Could we possibly be seeing him taking snaps under center in the next couple of years?
Well, I think we could definitely see him taking snaps under center in the next couple of years. I don't know about week 1 in South Bend against Notre Dame, but when you look at Locksley, he's a really athletic kid. I mean, this is a big pickup for Texas. 6'4", 195 pounds. Yeah. He's got potential at the quarterback position. I think more than anything, what this really does, though, is it gives Texas that third scholarship quarterback on their roster going into next season. Tyrone Swoops being one of those, didn't play well last year. Gerard Hurd, highly touted last year as a recruit, redshirted this year, so he'll be unproven. I think what it really does is it adds some healthy competition at the quarterback position. Maybe Texas can find their guy out of one of those three. When you look at Locksley, athletic kid, got great potential at quarterback. If Texas does switch to the spread offense, I think that'll really suit his strengths very well and maybe mask some of his weaknesses. He'll need to work on his fundamentals with quarterback coach Sean Watson when he gets in here. No one really knows what they're getting out of him as a passer. He doesn't like to sit in the pocket and throw. He likes to go out of the shotgun, roll right, throw on the run. When you do see him sit in the pocket and throw, not great fundamentally, throws off his back foot a lot, but I think it's a big pickup for Texas.
Well, certainly after missing out on Kyler Murray especially. Mark, what do you think?
Well, I'm really excited about it. I think Kai Locksley is going to be a great quarterback for Texas, and we've seen a lot of mediocrity from the quarterback position this year, and I think he gives us hope that the quarterback position could evolve into something better.
Well, we'll see if he's locked and loaded coming into South Bend, Indiana in 2015. Jeff, another news out today, Soso Jamabo, running back, Plano West, Dalen Mack, defensive tackle from Gladewater, both giving some indications through social media, through text. They may be looking elsewhere besides the 40 acres. What do you make out of this news, and how could they potentially fit with Texas?
Yeah, both of them would fit very well. I mean, they're both 5-star prospects. Texas could use a running back and a good defensive tackle after losing Malcolm Brown. But first, just to address the rumors, Dalen Mack has not addressed the rumors that he's no longer considering Texas. Soso Jamabo has. He sent out a tweet a couple hours ago saying that nothing's official yet. I haven't spoken to reporters in weeks, and still they want to make all these stories about me. So we don't really know for sure yet. But when you look at Soso, I mean, great running back. He's got a natural combination of size and speed. He's a little bit on the taller end and bigger end for running back at 6'2", 210 pounds, but he runs a 4.5 40-yard dash, takes long, smooth strides with the football. And he makes breaking long runs look effortless out there. And the big thing when I look at Soso is he's got great speed going north-south, but he's got that lateral speed, which is something rare that you see for a guy his size. Has a tendency to run to the outside a little bit too often, so whether he ends up playing in the Big 12 for Texas, Pac-12 for UCLA, he'll need to work on running between the tackles.
Well, certainly, and another guy, DeMarcus Lodge, a wide receiver from Cedar Hill, who made the surprise visit with Kyler Murray just a few weeks ago. DeMarcus, of course, out of Cedar Hill, 4-star wide receiver. But things have sort of calmed down. Looking at maybe Ole Miss, possibly Texas, a couple different schools. What do you think of Lodge's chances to wind up on the 40 acres, Jeff?
I think Lodge's chances, we'll get to percentages and predictions in a minute, but I think they're low. Texas really could use him, though he's an elite receiver in this class. He's about 6'2", 190 pounds. Great downfield threat, and he's very physical on the outside. He has the ability to go up and get the ball and really use that size to his advantage. He'll go ahead and get the ball at the highest point. Like I said, very physical, not afraid to make a block on the outside, which you really like to see out of receivers too. He doesn't have an unbelievable 40 time, but he's deceptively fast out there. He's got great instincts, and he's got football speed. His main weakness that he'll need to improve at the college level is his route running, though.
Well, of course, rumors this past week that possibly Joey McGuire, head coach at Cedar Hill, could be coming to Texas as a tight end special teams coach. Maybe that could have a little bit of an early impact on that front. Jeff, pretty simple here. I need percentages on these guys and the chances they're in a Texas Longhorns uniform in 2015.
Okay, well, we know Kai Locksley just committed. That 10% you see there is not correct. That should really be 100% because he just committed. And then we'll start with Soso. He's down to Texas and UCLA. Right now I'm giving a 50% chance that he commits to Texas on Wednesday. He's been pretty quiet throughout the entire process. These rumors, though, I might actually move that down to maybe 30-40%. But still, let's just say right now 50-50 because he's been pretty quiet with it. It seemed like he enjoyed his visit 2 weeks ago when he was out here. Dalen Mack, he's been so unpredictable the entire time. I'm going to put that at 25%. You never know with this guy. until he addresses the rumors or he comes out and announces at 11:30 on ESPNU on Wednesday, who knows what this guy's doing. DeMarcus Lodge, he's never really showed serious interest in the Longhorns except for when he came out for that unofficial visit during the middle of the week with Kyler Murray. And then, as we all know, Kyler Murray announced that he will stick with his A&M commitment. So I don't see Lodge really coming to UT. I'm going to put that at about 10 to 15% chance. I think the hat will be there on signing day. But at the end of the day, it's really going to come down to A&M, whether he wants to follow Kyler Murray there or Ole Miss, where he has family ties to. And I'm going to go ahead and say prediction, he goes to Ole Miss.
Jeff, you are the man. We'll go ahead and let you get out of here, and National Signing Day should keep us definitely on our toes. Up next, the Longhorns lock down a dynamic duo, and we'll take a look at the landscape of the 40 acres this week.
Welcome back to College Press Box. Thanks for sticking with us. On Friday, four-star 2015 cornerback recruits Holton Hill and Chris Boyd committed to the Longhorns on Time Warner Cable. Hill, a Houston native, is ranked as the number 13 cornerback in the nation. He received offers from Alabama, Oregon, Auburn, Texas A&M, and Florida State. Boyd is ranked the 11th best cornerback in the nation. Boyd chose Texas over Florida State, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and others. Boyd and Hill both took a visit to Austin on January 16th before making their decision to attend the University of Texas. According to Rivals.com, Texas now has the 8th best recruiting class in the nation.
Well, those guys aren't on campus just yet, but we still are, so let's take a look at what's happening this week in Longhorn sports. And it's starting off, women's basketball will be playing, number 20th ranked women's basketball will be playing at Kansas State. That's at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Then Thursday, men's golf kicks off the American Airlines Big Island Intercollegiate Tournament. That one goes all the way through Saturday. This Friday, men and women's swimming and diving will be playing versus TCU. That's at 4 p.m. Men's tennis will take on Washington. That's at 6 p.m. And softball gets their season going against UC Santa Barbara and against Oregon. Doubleheader there.
On Friday and Saturday, the track and field and cross country teams will be competing at the Mayo Invitational and the New Mexico Collegiate Classic. Saturday, softball will take on Northwestern at 2:30. Men's basketball in Kansas State will be on 3 p.m. on ESPN. Softball will take on Stanford at 4:45 on Saturday. Sunday, women's basketball will play Baylor at 1 p.m. on ESPN2, and softball versus Arizona State at 12:30 on Sunday.
Well, in celebration of Black History Month, we honored cultured pioneers at the University of Texas. This week we celebrate Henry Doc Reeves. Reeves was the first African-American at UT and a trainer for the football team for 20 consecutive seasons. Reeves died in 1916, ending the streak, but he was a part of the 1914 that went undefeated. Doc was a pioneer unlike any other and left a message at Texas that color made no difference when you had that type of determination. There will be a 1914 Perfect Season Museum exhibit at the Henry Stark Center, which is on the 7th floor in the north end zone of Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. Well, Mark, it breaks our hearts, but there's officially no more football minus spring ball, which does that count, until August rolls around. So how on earth are you going to fill your time this weekend, my man?
Well, I think there's a Texas hockey game going on Saturday night, so that'll be something to catch up.
Hey, maybe so. You and me on right here on TSTV, buddy. Well, buddy, that's all the time we have. It's come to an end, unfortunately. Thanks for being with us, though, and shaking off Super Bowl Sunday, whichever side you're rooting for. We have to get out of here, but make sure to check us out on Twitter. That's at College Press Box. And for the very best sports debates on campus, tune in Wednesdays to College Crossfire, Wednesday nights at 9. Our man, Jeff Barker, will try to hold us back on National Signing Day debates. You can follow Crossfire on the Twitter at College Xfire. Mark and I are going to get out of here. It's way past our bedtime. Good night, everybody.